Okay, you guys, I want to talk really quickly about all the materials that I've ordered, as well as show you a couple sample books so we can talk about kind of how that plays into the process of designing a letterpress project. So this is just a small selection of the sample books I have, including a couple new ones that I recently got. So one of these is Paper Source. I've used them before. They tend to be more for like the DIY consumer market, so their prices sort of reflect that. They do have one of these shops in Town Center though, which is actually kind of a nice option. So if I need something really quickly, like let's say gold envelopes or just a small quantity, I can definitely get them here. So this is one sample book I have. I do like their products. I think most of their envelopes are the Euro style, but they have a couple different types of pocket folders, and I believe they also sell this stuff as straight paper as well. So that's Paper Source. That's not one that I used for the job this time. This is actually a new sample book that I just got with the order of folders that I ordered this week for the current job that you guys are watching. And this one's really nice. They have a lot of options. I've never actually ordered from envelopes.com, but the prices seem to be pretty fair, and the sample book is really nice. There's a lot of options in it. The one thing that really stood out to me in the back was these sparkle papers. So these come, it looks like, as paper and as envelopes. So they have a silver, they have, let's see, it's a little tight here. They have a gold sparkle, and they have a rose gold sparkle. So this is the first glitter sort of envelope that I've really seen on the market. Personally, I'm sure there's plenty of others out there somewhere, but what's really nice is it doesn't seem to be something that's going to like flake off in the mail, which is really nice. It'd be great for an inner envelope, especially. I don't know how easy it's going to be to write on, and I can tell by the texture it's probably not the best for printing letterpress, but it's something I might want to try in the future. They also sell, you know, translucent envelopes, a whole variety of colors. This one kind of has a really beautiful wood grain texture to it. It's called teak. And of course, more of the basic sort of like silver, crystal metallic, and it comes in a couple weights as well. So envelopes.com is probably a place that I will be trying out in the future. So that's their sample book. This is another new one, and this one actually came from cardsandfolders.com, so I'm assuming they carry most of these, and this is the Luxe paper line, or it might be from envelopes. I can't 100% remember, but another, you know, huge set. So what's really nice about having all these sample books that I think is really important, and why I've actually spent the money to order so many of these over time, is that you can match to your Pantone colors. So this is just a cheap, well, they're not cheap usually, but I got mine secondhand on eBay. Pantone guide for the uncoated color. So now with letterpress, we're almost never printing uncoated stocks, so the uncoated is pretty much all I need. I actually have two of these. I have one at the house and one at the shop, and that allows me to look at my envelopes and kind of find matching colors so that I can mix my inks to match. It also lets me sort of confirm things with clients. If they send me a sample or they're very specific about the particular type of wine color they want, I can actually compare what different companies have and sort of see where they're at. So I think there was some nice wine color somewhere in here. There we go. So you can see these are two very different wine colors, but they could both be considered wine. Maybe this one's definitely obviously more of a plum, but it will allow me to sort of match and really kind of get the vision that my clients are looking for. So this is the Luxe paper line. It looks like it comes in flat cards, folded cards, and then cover sizes. It doesn't look like this comes in envelopes. So this would be more for printing. It looks sort of comparable to French paper or Crane's colors, but a nice wide range there. So that's the Luxe paper book. This is from Cards and Pockets, and this is the swatches for pretty much all of their products. So this includes their folders. I kind of wish this was also on a little connector or something like that, but it's easier to go through, but it's easy to lose them. So you can see all of their different colors here, as well as it tells you kind of what products it's available in, and most of them will tell you that. So this comes in pocket folders, envelopes, tags and folded cards sheets, and then it looks like it can be die cut, I'm assuming is what that means. So a nice, really pretty kind of range of colors. That copper is really gorgeous. You can see it tells you also the weight of the paper, and you can kind of feel it for yourself. So a nice selection of colors here. And this is where having the sample books really makes a difference when you're trying to select from a range of similar colors. So if someone's asking for blue or dark blue or navy blue, you're able to really look and kind of compare and sort of say, well, this is more true navy, but maybe you want to go with something a little bit lighter, or maybe you want something that's a little more saturated. It really, I think having the sample books makes a big difference in making sure the products are really consistent. So this is also like a really beautiful sparkle there. Let's see what else they have in the back. Something really cool that this company has, and I'm going to see if I can find it in their book, is they have these gorgeous textured wood grain papers as well that do come in the folders. And I have another sample that I'll show you if I can't quite find it here. And it looks like it's somewhere in the middle, so I'll worry about that a little bit later. But I'm definitely going to show you a sample of that. So that's Cards and Pockets standard swatch deck. And then this is from Paper Presentation. This is another company that I really like because their range is huge and pretty much all of the items come in all of the colors. They have a gigantic selection of pocket folders, and I've recently discovered they seem to be the only company that has a true 5x7 pocket folder that also has a pocket which will hold 5x7, and we're going to see why that's important later when you see the printing of the job. So this one looks like this is from 2014. I believe, you know, some things may be discontinued or there may be new colors, but it gives you a good selection. So this is their metallic collection, their silk, their plique, and their duplex papers. So everything you could think. So this duplex here actually has, it's either doubled up or has a different color on the back. So this actually has a matte finish on the back, and then sort of like a iridescent sort of fabric-y texture on that one. These ones are kind of hard to open as well. But we have some metallics, mint, I mean, some unusual colors that I think they carry, which I don't usually see elsewhere. So what I really love about them is their selection. They're a little bit more expensive than some of the other companies, but relatively comparable. So this is, these have some really nice textures. Like this is a linen, which is really beautiful, gorgeous sort of nude color. This sort of dust ballerina metallic rose is really gorgeous, and I guarantee there's somebody out there that would love that. So that is the metallic collection. And then this is sort of their classic collection. Now this is usually what I'm looking at when it comes to selecting folders or any kind of envelopes, because I don't usually like to go too crazy with the envelopes because they risk, you don't want to have anything where it's too hard to print the addresses on it or write the addresses, because they could get destroyed in the heat machines that the envelopes run through. So you can see a beautiful selection of papers here. Everything you could think, and I don't think there's any metallics in here, but even some kind of nice things like this parchment. Another parchment style, and a third one. So that's why these sample books are really helpful, because you wouldn't be able to really tell what these look like on the internet. Like the swatches online are never really going to give you the sense of that this has like a texture to it, the weight. So I definitely recommend getting some sample books if you're going to be printing. Otherwise, they are kind of fun to have in general. But there you go. So that's Paper Presentation, and that's where I ordered the most recent folders. And then this is sort of a personal swatch book that I made. And this is just some of the papers that I suggest printing on. That includes, this is Wild, which is one of my favorites because of how it's really heavy. It has a kind of like soft, almost watercolor cold press texture to it. And it's really easy to print. And it creates a very pillowy impression, which people, of course, love. So this looks like, this is just sort of like a cheap, lightweight cardstock from Michaels. So, I mean, you can print these papers. There's nothing really wrong with it, especially if they're not meant to be archival, but they're sort of ephemeral and they're going to be given away or just sent as like simple correspondence. They print great. It's not a problem. This is actually really thin, like letter paper that I think I got from Lindenmeyer paper. It's just something you would print like resumes on or anything like that. It's actually a lightweight text weight. So it looks like it's called Exact Opaque. And once again, these lighter weight print papers print great. You're going to have a lot of impressions show through, which sometimes can be cool. This is a cheap craft paper from Michaels. So it's just a cardstock in brown. Nothing particularly fancy about that. This looks like, I think this might be Savoy. Kind of hard to tell here. Actually, I think this is sort of like another heavyweight, just plain cardstock. Crane's Colors, which is somewhat similar to French paper. It's from the same company that obviously makes Crane's Lettre, so it kind of goes with it in a way. It's kind of a thick cardstock, but they are 100% cotton, so they're going to be more archival than sort of the acid-treated papers. And they come in a nice range of colors. This one is French paper, which is another company I really love, simply because they have a huge range of colors, and it takes prints great. So I do love this for folded cards. This is my favorite if I'm going to be doing like a Mother's Day card or some kind of holiday card. I like French paper. It's just thick enough that it has like a nice hand feel to it, but it scores relatively well, so you can fold it without it cracking, and that's sort of a nice feature of that. So this is Crane's Lettre, or Lettre, in the white. And so you can see this is just the fluorescent white. It takes prints really nice. I think sometimes I prefer Savoy, but this is cheaper per sheet. And I only think Savoy is sometimes better because it's a little less fluffy on the surface, so I think the prints occasionally come out smoother. And then we kind of bookend it with, this is more of the wild paper. So this comes in a weight that's twice as thick as this, so it's super heavy. But that's a great one. I love that one for printing really special stuff. It's great for wedding invitations that are not going to go in a folder. This is a new sample that I received. So this is a company, I think, called Don Bosco, so it's like a paper maker. And this is like a really thick, super textured watercolor paper. It actually comes in like this, this one here is like a roof shingle thickness. It's so heavy. I'm not sure if you can really see that. It looks like it will take prints really well, because you can see this is letterpress here. It's a little over inked, but they have kind of a nice selection here. So they looks like they have 3 weights. So this is like a board. So this would be great for coasters. I think this would probably be one of the nicest coasters papers in general. Even the lightweight would probably make fine coasters. So really beautiful kind of texture and look to it. So I'm definitely going to probably try that at some point. It does appear that it also has envelopes. And now the final 2 things I want to show you is when I ordered from, let's see here, from Cards and Pockets, I had them send me these sort of like made up samples, and I kind of mixed them all up, but they're kind of a neat sort of thing to see. So this is kind of an option for creating a suite, and what I do like is that all their products coordinate. So here you can see I have some like shimmer sapphire envelopes in the 4-bar size and the A7 size. And then this is that wood grain paper I was mentioning. So this is a folder. You can see that this does not come all the way to the edge, which is something that actually is a problem for some of the jobs I do. So it's important to know that they do not sell an option where the flap comes all the way into the score. They only sell these shortened flaps. So this is just one option. You can see they actually sell cards pre-cut to fit in their folders. Now this is an inner card, I believe. They also have, here we go. So they have the kind of little border card. So you would sort of glue or tape that in, and then you would drop that on top. And so you'd have a little border. This would be a great option if you were gonna like maybe print in this ice blue. And then they sell the cards that fit within the pockets. So these are really beautiful. It's a very simple kind of like one-stop place to go get all of the materials for the design you're doing, and this would be a great time to, you know, if you buy sort of some samples or grab a swatch book, you can kind of plan the project that way and then order all the materials, and they of course fit together perfectly. Now this is something worth noting. This is one reason why I don't like to print wild or any of the really heavy papers for anything that's going to go in a folder, and it's that the envelopes become so hard to stuff. getting them in past this little flap here is always really, really rough. Once they're in there, they're pretty good, but it's something to know that that's going to take you about twice as long to do to fit it in there. So you don't want to print super, super heavy like the 600 GSM when you're going to be putting it in a pocket folder. So that's one sample. I also ordered a square. So this is their metallic gold. This is a pink one. So this is the inner envelope, which would go inside this outer envelope. And then here is the square. So you can see I have it upside down. And they sell more varieties than this, but definitely worth noting. So I picked a matching magenta colored border. We then have this, and then matching gold 4-bar with the cards. And so those again fit in the pocket. So you can see once again, this does not meet all the way to the edge, which is not something I generally like because it means I'm forced to keep the flap. There are times where I don't want the flap, but it's still really, really beautiful. This I think also comes in the version that opens this way, where the pocket is kind of at the bottom here. And you can see once again, they're kind of hard to stuff. If you go kind of this direction, it's not so bad. And then it looks like this one could even go inside of this one. You really want to give people a challenge. And there you go. So that's the outer envelope, the inner envelope, the folder. This is definitely going to take the 2-ounce postage. So be prepared for that unless you want to have them all returned. And then this is the final one I ordered. I believe I may have more than one actually. So this is a horizontal folder. And now, so, okay, this one does go all the way to the end. But you can see it fits in here a little differently, the card that goes there. So here's this one. So I ordered black with this sort of dark gold, and then I picked silver to go with it. I like to see the blacks that the companies do because some have a true ultra black and then some have sort of a softer kind of mixing black. I think this is gorgeous, printed with like an antique gold ink. And then you kind of do like a whole metallic suite here. And when they send you these, they send you a couple extra samples of paper so that you can test the paper. And it's lightweight. It's not like, it's kind of like just a cardstock. I think you would print fine on letterpress. It's not something I would want for free floating items like this, but for pasting it in, I think it would be perfectly fine. And so then once you have that, you close this up. And this one drops into the inner envelope. So this is just a true A7 envelope. Folds up and then goes into the outer envelope. So the reason you would want an inner and an outer envelope is simply because the outer envelope is going to get beat up. It doesn't matter what you do. Even when you kind of tell them to hand sort, these tend to go through the machine if they'll fit, and the machine has heat. So wax seals, anything sort of delicate or special you wanted on the envelope, or monograms or special printing, is going to get smushed. Like there's just not much you can do about it. I've tried to send these things and they kind of tend to get a little bit beat up. But that's the Swatchbooks, and we'll come back with a little bit more printing later.